Good morning, my name is Alin Gupta. So today I am going to present my 6 weeks training on the basis of my presentation. So I have done my training under Mr. Avinash Yadav, the training coordinator of MSIL. So let's go with the overview of the company. That it was founded in 1981. Its current MD is Hisashi Takeuchi, and its main headquarters are situated in Delhi. Ownership is majorly owned by that Maruti is of Indian and Suzuki is of Japanese. So Maruti stakes are less and Japanese stakes are more. Indian government and Japanese government has a collaboration with them that Suzuki currently contains around 56% of the stakes of Maruti Suzuki. Talking about the market leader, Maruti is the major market leader in the whole India, as if around 60% of the vehicles are run of Suzuki, or you can say Maruti Suzuki on the roads as compared to Hyundai, Mahindra, etc. etc. Product range, Maruti started its journey from Maruti 800, or you can say Alto 800, popularly known as Maruti 800, and it's now continuing with several XUVs, several sedans. Several upcoming projects are also coming of several EV vehicles. Now let us start with my main topic. My main topic that I have done my training is majorly it was capacity assessment, and secondly it was basic and major role of supply chain activities in complete department. Let us start with the capacity assessments. It majorly contains 5 main parameters, that is yearly forecast, 6 months forecast, quarterly forecast, fortnightly forecast, and Nagare schedule. So we are continuing with each of the topic. Let's start with the yearly forecast. Yearly forecast depicts us the major purchase in a whole year. That if a company want to purchase a part for a car, so company is not known that how many parts the company should purchase, so that there will be no stoppage or there be no stop in the production line. So yearly forecast depicts us the complete purchase of a year. Here is some basic information that I have gathered. The x-axis depicts us all the components, all the parts that Maruti needs to purchase, and how many parts Maruti needs to purchase, that shows the y-axis. There is the relation between X and Y, and the 4 colors that are being shown by bars, these represents the year. It is a previous report. So in 2019, inner rubber windshield, this is the part which was purchased by Maruti. Its estimation is around 15,000. Similarly in 2020, this was between 15 to 20,000, and in 2021, 20,000 to 25,000. It depends that how much company can vary in first year or in the previous year. It is not completely that a company should be on a upscale or in the downscale. Now let us move with the 6 months forecast. Similarly, our yearly forecast depicts of the year forecast, that how many parts will be purchased in a year. Now let us start with the 6 months forecast. 6 months forecast tell about the relation between the how many parts to be purchased in upcoming next 6 months. That there are 5 parts. These are represented by, again, the years have been changed and the data have been rarely changed. It's around half, but it can't be sure that it is approximately half. It can vary at a very high end. This around shows the graph that in April 21 to September 21, inner river windshield part, this is the part that is purchased between 6 to 8,000. So, upcoming years, for example, these wheels are only purchased between 4 to 6,000. This is the chart which helps us to know what is the main requirement and how it is being check our past, that how many parts are being purchased, and a forecast that tells us that how many parts are need to be purchased in the future, so that the production line will not be stopped, there will not be any disruption. Similarly with the quarterly forecast, there was a yearly forecast, then 6 months forecast, then it is a quarterly forecast. The parts to be purchased in 4 quarters. The graph depicts the same. X-axis shows the part name and the y-axis shows the how many number of the parts, and these individual bars shows us the 4 different quarters. Now, similarly, move to the next fortnightly forecast. This forecast tells us the 15 days schedule, that in a month of January, that first 15 days we need to purchase how many, and the next 15 days we need to purchase how much parts. This graph shows us the x-axis and the y-axis. X-axis similarly shows the number of parts, y-axis shows us the how many parts to be purchased, and these individual bars shows us the different stacks of the days. Now let us move to the Nagare schedule. This is a majorly used type of schedule in the Maruti, that is Nagare schedule. Nagare schedule basically depicts as the how many vendor need to supply or Maruti need to purchase on the basis of daily vision. That today Maruti production line is of 2000 vehicles of a daily manufacturing, so Maruti needs to purchase around 2000 parts per vehicle. So this is a website of officially of Maruti, in which vendor needs to fill up the schedule, that he is being there at 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. according to the needs of the Maruti. Then vendor goes there, deliver the product, and this goes on daily basis with regularity. Nagare schedule tells us the total number of parts to be purchased on daily basis. Now these were the 5 major topics that tells about the capacity assessment. We have started from the year and came to a single day end. Now move on to my second part, that is basic understanding of various supply chain activities. First was monitoring supplies. There are 9 parts. We will start with the monitoring supplies. Monitoring supplies depicts as the 3 major supplies that need to be measured. Number 1 is DI, that is delivery instruction. Second one is non-DI, that is non-delivery instruction. Third one is Nagare. DI means a vendor needs to send part on a, one day regardless of the time. For example, vendors have to send around 600 parts in a day. So there is no time boundation, no time limitation, that vendor can send any of the part with any of the quantities, like 200 plus 200 plus 200, 400 plus 200, anything he wants, or in fact 600 at a one time in 24 hours. This is the DI. This is not majorly followed on the production line. This is followed for the warehouse and dispatch department, that vendor can supply in a whole day. Now it come to non-DI. Non-DI is the least used method in the Maruti, as a vendor have to supply the parts in a whole month. Vendor can supply in a month at any time, any day, regardless of the quantity of the stock. So this is the least used method. And the third one is the Nagare. Nagare schedule is the vendor has to supply parts on the daily basis. That on day 1 he has to send this, day 2 he has to send this quantity, day 3 he has to send this quantity. This is a complete website of Maruti, in which vendors are listed and they are known that how many parts they need to supply today or tomorrow. Now moving on to the next part, that is spare supplies. Spare supplies is the most important topic, as if for example a person purchases a car and its Maruti production is the last year of production. So for the customer it is a new car, so he will usually use it for around 10 years or 15 years. So if production of this car is stopped, but vendor are signed an legal agreement at the time of LOI, that vendor will provide the spare parts after 15 years of end of SOP. SOP means supply, start of production. Means when the production stops, after that for 15 years, vendor will produce the parts for the customers. Basically, vendor need to supply on the basis of 2, that is OE and WAD. OE means original equipments, WAD means warehousing and dispatch. OE is on daily basis, that is Nagare, or WAD is on DI. Malab a vendor can send a part in a complete day at any time. Spare supply is basically for the customer or for the WAD department. The price of the part differs by 5%. That is due to packing sheets and the corrugated box, plus our price becomes standard spare price, and if we add it to 30%, we get our MRP level. These 30% include the discount for the customer and the profit for the dealer. So upcoming to the next part, that is FG stock monitoring. FG stock monitoring means the finished goods stock monitoring. It is basically when there is a website of Maruti itself, in which vendor has to fill the stocks the production and the line that he is being managing, that how many stocks are there, then how many upcoming stocks are there, and how many warehousing space is he having. So there is sometimes a random audit that a person can go physically and check whether the vendor is saying right or wrong. If vendor is not able to fulfill these products, there is a penalty, but it is tried for by the vendor that he need to maintain the green FG stock, that is known as green finished goods stock. It is very good for the vendor. Now let's come for the next, that is second sourcing. What is the need of second sourcing? For example, there is a fire calamity, earthquake. It's one vendor's company's labors run away due to the any of the accidental issue. So at the end, Maruti's production line will be at the risk if Maruti will not get the products. So to end this, there are several factors of the risk that are being listed. So we need second sourcing to de-risk the Maruti so that its production line. So let us start with the fifth point: VA, VE, and yield. VA means value addition, VE means value engineering, and yield means the. Now let us start with the fifth point, that is VA, VE, and yield. VA means value addition, VE means value engineering, and let us start with the VA, value addition. Value addition is done at the running state. For example, a car is run named Baleno. If there is any addition of the value, means if there is any addition of the part regarding of the costing, regarding of the customer satisfaction, so this is known as the value addition. Value engineering means when the part is under process, means there is a upcoming cars that like EV cars that are being manufactured by Maruti. These are the cars in which value engineering done. At before SOP, the engineering which is done is known as value engineering. Yield means the total amount of output we are getting from our raw material. We can easily increase its effectiveness by a process known as nesting. Let us move to the sixth part. This is the major part on which the whole company works, that is sourcing and development. For example, Maruti needs to purchase a part, but its sourcing to be done, then its part need to be developed till SOP state, that this part is being purchased by which vendor at least price. This is known as sourcing. It is started by the engineering department. Engineering department releases RRFQ. RRFQ means request for quotation. Then it goes to supply chain. Supply chain department releases RFQ at the name of the vendors, in which vendors fill their nomination that we are eligible for making this part. Then supply chain nominates the vendor. ऐसे जाना था, दोबारा करना पड़ेगा यार, इसमें ना ऐसे बना हुआ है ग्राफ, तो मैं यूं ऐसे चला गया. So let us start with the sixth point, that is sourcing and development. It is the major part on which the whole company works. It starts with the engineering department. Engineering department releases RRFQ, that is request for quotation. Then it goes to supply chain. Then supply chain releases RFQ for the name of vendors. RFQ request for quotation. Then vendor fill their first quote. Then supply chain department chooses L1 vendor. L1 vendor here we can say that the vendor which has quoted the least price, and regardless of the price, it is being measured by the quality and quantity, that is checked by engineering department and quality team. Now supply chain nominates the vendor. Business is given to the vendor after negotiation. Research and development team and the engineering departments now come into the process. They starts the part making process, that is DP, PP, MPP, pilot trial. DP means display proto. Display proto means it is a very least state of production, that only a few numbers of parts to be made for the quality check, TR check, and if there is any changement, they can do changes by ECN, engineering change notice. Same with PP, that is production proto trial. Here the production of parts are being increased from the DP trial. Similarly, it goes to MPP, the production is increased. Then it comes to pilot trial, the production is or increased. Now it comes to SOP. SOP means start of production. The major production that is being done in lakhs or in thousands is being done in SOP. Now let us move to the next part, that is actualization activity. Actualization activity depicts the name by its own, that is actualization. This is majorly for the main actualization of RM and FE. RM stands for raw material, FE stands for foreign exchange. At the time of LOI, vendor need to sign an agreement in which if he says that I need RM fluctuation, that I need FE fluctuation, then till SOP, the vendor gets the difference. The difference is, for example, the vendor quoted the text, that is I give a part in 20 rupees, but at the time of SOP, means after the 1.5 years, there is 100% chances that the raw material price may increase, may decrease. So the vendor get the given delta after the checking of all its BOE purchases. Now it's come to ECN. ECN means engineering change notice. If there is any change at the any state, then the ECN must be released. For the release of ECN, engineering department or the supply chain department may release ECR, that is engineering change request, and it is done on the basis of ADM, apply date make. That means up to which date this particular change to be implemented. This is known as the apply date make. Now let us come to our 9th point, that is SRM, supplier risk management. There are several buckets that is being listed. Management risk bucket, depending upon second, third tier, labor risk bucket, machinery bucket, safety risk bucket. Let us start with the management risk bucket. It is the bucket that depicts us there if there are any managerial issues in the vendor's company. Secondly, dependence upon second, third tier. For example, the vendor is selling us the products, but vendor is purchasing any raw material that is finished product for another vendor. That is known as dependency on tier 2 and tier 3. That person is purchasing his raw material, that is finished product, for another vendor and then doing its finishing and then sending to us. This is known as the dependency upon second and third tier. Labor risk bucket, if the labor is properly got their salary and much more. Machinery bucket, if machinery is properly working, its routine checkup is done. Safety risk bucket, safety factors are there. There are fire extinguishers. There are several things that helps in safety. Funding risk bucket, that company of the vendor has the proper fundings. Profitability risk bucket, the vendor is not getting in the loss, the Maruti is not getting in the loss. They both are getting equal. And now these were the several components that is known as that are being under the supplier risk management, that is SRM. These were the 9 components of basic supply chain activities. Now let us come to our training outcomes. What are the outcomes of this training? I got to know about the enhanced demand forecasting, that which tells us what is the need of the customer, how much company needs to improve, that how many parts company needs to make more and make less. For example, a car is being sold and its demand is very high, so Maruti needs to increase this production, otherwise there will be lack of this parts. And if a car is not sold, then Maruti needs to slow down its production, as if what will Maruti do if the parts will not be sold? Now next part is enhanced profitability. Maruti needs to do the cost cutting at each and every part. Some of the persons of Maruti don't know that the spare tire, that is 5th tire of the car, is around 1 inch smaller in diameter. That is not known by any of the customers. This is a part of cost cutting that increase the profitability of the Maruti. It's come to cost reduction. Maruti needs to negotiate at any point so that it's come cheaper for the MSIL to purchase. If it's reduced by only 10 paisa, then it is also a very big amount, because parts are being purchased in lakhs. Coming to the improved inventory management, that depicts us the inventory that Maruti is having. Similarly, the Maruti needs to produce more cars that are in high demand and reduce the production of those cars that are in low demand. Process optimization of bottleneck operation is the major part. Once the process optimization of bottleneck operation is done, bottleneck operation is the operation which takes the majority of the time in any of the process making. that needs to be optimized. There must be a sequence so that any of the parts should not be left with any of the process. Now it's come to brand reputation. Maruti needs to maintain its brand reputation as if it is from 1981, since there's a huge numbers. It's being ruled over the whole India in on the basis of cars. So there is several things like safety, similarly fuel efficiency and much more. Maruti needs to maintain its brand reputation. Now it's come for the flexibility and adaptability. Supply chain members are mostly flexible, that if there is a new change came into the market, then supply chain members barely adapt that, regardless of the outcomes. If there is a new thing in the market, they try and test it and then process this thing. Enhanced risk awareness. This is a major part of the supplier risk management. More will be the risk awareness. There are least chances that a production line will be stopped. So thank you. This was my complete presentation of 6 weeks training in Maruti Suzuki India Limited, MSIL. Thank you.